And good afternoon to our Congresswoman. How are you?
How are you, Jeff? Great to join you today.
Well, great. Good. I got so many questions for you today, you wouldn't believe it. Our good friend Tish James came out with a report today about Governor Cuomo and the nursing homes, saying that the deaths were vastly underreported. You have any thoughts on that?
I have extremely strong thoughts on that, Jeff. So first of all, credit to Tish James for issuing an independent report and investigation. This is damning of the governor and the governor's entire team. This is not just a nursing home scandal now. This is a massive corruption and cover-up scandal at the highest levels of New York State government. The fact that the number of deaths in nursing homes was underreported by over 50% is inexcusable. We know as New Yorkers, and I know because I've talked to constituents who have lost loved ones because of the governor's fatal March 25th policy forcing nursing homes to take positive COVID patients, which was against the guidance from the federal government. But it was not only that criminal act, it has been the subsequent cover-up day after day after day for months at his press conferences, blaming anyone who would ask, and even those who have lost loved ones, of playing politics. Well, justice is going to be served, and this is the start of that process. And I want to thank all of the constituents who reached out to me with just heartbreaking stories who lost loved ones in nursing homes. As an elected official, it's our job to listen to them. The governor seems to have forgotten that in his, reign over New York State. So this will be just the beginning, but this is much more than just nursing homes, Jeff. This is corruption at the highest levels of New York State government.
Okay. There's a lot of what I think are bad governors. What makes this governor, in your mind, the nation's worst?
He's the nation's worst because he has been the absolute worst manager when it comes to the COVID crisis. This nursing home scandal is an example of that. If you start from the beginning of his tenure, there have been corruption scandals. He has been the governor as we've lost a massive amount of population over the past decade. We continue to be the least friendly state in the nation when it comes to small businesses, and the unconstitutional power grabs like the SAFE Act. So there's lots of examples of why he's the worst governor in America.
Now, you brought up the population, which affects something called redistricting, and that's kind of inside baseball. Most people don't follow it. We might lose one, possibly two seats in Congress. But there was a big kerfuffle in some of the papers around the state, including our one here, about your criticism of the governor's involvement in a referendum this fall that would basically vest redistricting with the Democrats. And these people said that you didn't understand how a constitutional amendment occurs. And my understanding is that whole story came out of the second floor anyway. Can you fill us in on that?
Sure. So it's important for people to note that this was on the ballot. New Yorkers already voted for a commission where you'd have Republicans, Democrats, and independent commissioners who are responsible for drawing fair lines that are not gerrymandered. The Democrats in the state Senate and Assembly have put forth a proposal that would cancel the will of New Yorkers, that would cancel the commission and allow one party to unilaterally draw the line. Now, the governor's team, I seem to get under their skin, which I'm proud of every single day, because I'm proud to stand up against the worst governor in America. They took the time to call local papers in my district. This is while they're getting paid by the taxpayers. These are not campaign staff, Jeff. These are official staff on the second floor in the New York State Capitol. The fact that they're taking time out of their busy day to plant stories about me is just, it's a joke, and it shows how weak and thin-skinned they really are. The reality is anything that Albany Democrats put forward, they have to go to Governor Cuomo for his okay, because that's how he runs the Democratic Party and this one-party rule in New York State.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not the smartest political analyst in the world. I'm no Scotty Atkinson or anything. But I watch what you've been doing lately, calling the governor the nation's worst governor, your steady criticism of him, far more than any other New York State Republican. It's pretty obvious to me there is some interest that you have in running against this guy in 22.
No, I'm standing up for my district, Jeff. I will tell you the most frequent comment I get from my constituents as I go around the district is, thank you so much for standing up against Governor Cuomo. That is what I hear day in and day out. and particularly going through the crisis of last year with COVID, where there's a significant role for both the federal and state government. He was unwilling to work with the Trump administration. He was political at every end, pointing fingers, not taking any accountability onto himself, and poorly managing the resources that the federal government provided New York State, which was more to New York than any other state in the nation. So, as I've continued to serve the constituents of my district in Congress, it's becoming clearer and clearer that one of the biggest challenges we have as New Yorkers is Governor Cuomo, who is an ineffective.
Sure. Hello.
Upstate, and I represent the North Country.
We just got a text message. It said, tell Elise we love her and support her 100%. I run into a lot of people every day who say to me, do you think she'll run for governor? I mean, and I'm not making that up just to be provocative on the air here. I run into it every day. Now, it's on people's minds.
Well, I think that shows the weakness of Governor Cuomo, and the more his team attacks me, the stronger we get, not only in the North Country, but frankly across the state. And I do think there's a lot of really credible, strong candidates, even outsider candidates like Janice Dean, who was the most effective advocate when it came to standing up regarding the nursing home scandals. And I think the Republicans will field a very strong candidate. Sure. I feel very humbled to be getting those calls and to get that encouragement. But my job, I was just reelected to serve our district, and that's what I'm focused on right now, Jeff. But I will continue calling out the governor because people need to in New York. Our job as elected officials is to be voices for the people. You mentioned Janice Dean from Fox. She's the Fox weather person there. Her criticisms, I think the governor dismissed her as like a weather girl or something, didn't he? Yes, his team of, hacks have smeared Janice Dean. Shame on them. She is out of their league. Her family lost 2 loved ones in the nursing home scandal, and it is inexcusable that instead of listening and trying to work with New Yorkers who have lost loved ones, they smeared them, and they played politics, and they belittled them. Okay. That is just unacceptable. Okay. Well, one of the people who has, I guess, become a big critic of yours on Twitter is Melissa DeRocha, who is the de facto governor in the state. And she was like a buddy of yours at prep school in Albany, but now she's doesn't like you. What's the relationship there? Well, she is a hack for the governor, and I'm focused on the governor's failed mistakes, and she's going to have a lot of explaining to do. They should subpoena the entire senior staff of the governor for their illegal corruption cover-up, and also the pay-to-play scandals. No one in New York knows who she is. 0.0001 voters in this state even know her name. I'm focused on the governor, who is the elected official, whose name is on the ballot, and he needs to be held to account. Her name will never be on a ballot, Jeff, and I'm honored to have been on the ballot for multiple times, earning the overwhelming support of my district.